Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Smart Recovery Series Tips and Tools for Recovery That Works. On today's show, we're going to examine a tool that can help anyone build and maintain their motivation to stay on track in their recovery. And it's called the Hierarchy of Values exercise, or HOV for short. First, let's break down what's implied by the term values. People often use the term value only in the economic sense, as in what is the monetary or material worth of something, its exchange value, or the bottom line when it comes to their bank account. The term value in the context that we're applying in this smart recovery exercise isn't about money. Rather, value is defined as the relative worth, merit, or importance of something in your life, things that money can't buy. Now focus on the word relative, as in what's important to you as an individual, because remember, everyone is different. So let's start by listing your values in order of priority. Number one might be a very common one, which is your relationship with your partner. Number two might be being a great mother or father to your kids, or a grandmother or sister or nephew. Number three could be your physical health, which is very important. And lastly, perhaps you value your career and your professional growth. Okay, so now let's step back and take a look at your list. Something is obvious right off the bat. Your addiction is nowhere to be found on that list. Moreover, by engaging in your addiction, you're essentially putting all those things that you really truly value at risk. How? Well, alcohol and drug use and gambling and other behavioral problems hurt, or in some instances destroy, your relationship with your partner. In some cases, you might lose custody of your children. Addictive substances definitely adversely affect your health. And while you may be able to keep your career on track, it might be just a matter of time before your tardiness or sick days or erratic performance leads to your dismissal. Bottom line, your addiction compromises your core values. And this is an important takeaway that can help you keep your recovery on track, because as you continue to pursue your core values, you'll thrive as a result, as a partner, a parent, and an employee. Maybe this is your aha moment. Now, we could stop right here, but the HOV exercise also allows us to go even deeper, to closely examine some core values that people hold dear or think they hold dear. The premise being that some of those things that we think represent core values are actually just priorities imposed upon us by the outside. Imagine a young woman who fulfills the expectations of her parents and makes it a priority to become a successful lawyer. But later in life, she struggles with the realization that she hates the legal profession and would really rather pursue a childhood dream of becoming a romance novelist. Or a man who follows society's expectations and marries his childhood sweetheart. But as time goes on and his marriage fails to make him or his spouse happy, he realizes that perhaps he wasn't even attracted to her to begin with, or perhaps he's not even attracted to women at all. You may think that these are extreme cases of disconnect, but they're really not. In fact, these various degrees of misalignments are often the root cause of people's addictions to begin with. Think about it. Some people self-medicate to deal with the pain of what's been done to them by others. Some must self-medicate to deal with the pain and guilt of what they've done in their lives. But perhaps worst of all is the pain that some people feel by what they haven't done in their lives. Those toxic thinking patterns collectively known as regret. Henry David Thoreau famously stated that the mass of men and women lead lives of quiet desperation, and the cause was misplaced values. Some of us feel a void in our lives and we attempt to fill that void with things like money, possessions, and all too often addictive substances that help us deal with the pain and anxiety caused by regret. So by going a step further, with the HOV tool, you can begin to really dig deep and assess what your values really are versus what you thought they were. And this takes some serious introspection and honesty, because sometimes the answers might be totally different than what you always supposed that they would be. But for now, let's just keep it simple. Start with three basic questions. One, what do I want for my future? Number two, what am I currently doing to achieve that? And number three, how do I feel about what I'm currently doing? Odds are, when you were indulging in your addiction of choice, you either didn't have the time or the courage to face these questions directly. The irony being that the sooner you had faced those questions, the sooner your addiction may have been addressed to begin with. If this circular reasoning sounds familiar, it's because it is. It's a common allegory in literature and films. Quote, "The truth we seek has been within us all along, if only we had the courage to look." Hey, I hope these kinds of smart recovery exercises really help. And if you've used them, we'd love to hear from you. Drop us a line at tipsandtools@smartrecovery.org. And as always, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for our next episode of Smart Recovery's Tips and Tools for Recovery That Works.